Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and Happy New Year! Happy 2021 to all of you watching this. We made it. We able to watch this, made it, through the horror show that was 2020, and, you know, I'm not going to go into detail into what 2020 was, because those of us who were lucky enough to survive it do in fact know what it was like, and we have come into a new year. The problems haven't gone away, but now going into a new year, we are somewhat more prepared to actually deal with them and to help each other deal with them. So that much is clear. But going into 2021, we have a whole host of new shows coming out, and this is one of them. It's that time of year. I think it's the start of a new year, and pretty much almost immediately, it's also that time of year again where a new episode of Doctor Who is coming out. And yeah, I honestly, I can't remember. I think 2019. I think it was 2019 that we had Doctor Who. I think because I'm trying to think. Did it stretch past Christmas or did it stop just before Christmas? Because I can't remember if there was ever like a Christmas special episode of Doctor Who, or if like the last season that we had actually stretched into 2020 somehow, or what. But I don't know, because 2020, in terms of, especially in terms of consuming media, because movies were very, very much on the down low because of COVID and everywhere just shutting down. So I can't remember when certain things happened, and also if they even happened in 2020, because a lot of stuff didn't happen in 2020, and a lot of bad stuff did happen in 2020. So it's it's very, very much relative to this show. It's a very timey-wimey thing. It's a big ball. It's the messiest ball of timey-wimey stuff that I've ever experienced in my life, and it's a shambles. It's a shambles. But yeah, like I said, Happy New Year to all of you. Happy New Year to all of you. I think wherever you are in the world now, it's it still is officially 2021, so no one is left behind anymore due to time zones. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. It has been a wild ride, and yeah, I mean, I can't say anything that other people haven't already said already, and I think it's also fair to say that some have suffered 2020 a lot worse than others have. Some of us were lucky enough to not suffer it as badly. Others lost a lot, be it both personally and professionally. But we made it. Those of us who made it here can say that we made it, and we can only live on remembering those who didn't. Not to get too depressing, but still, it's worth mentioning. So yeah, just happy New Year to all of you. Hope any if any of you still have managed to actually come up with some resolutions for this year, I do hope you hope and wish you the best in achieving each and every one of them, or at least as many as you can. The fact that you try and achieve any of them is more important than anything else. So yeah, Doctor Who, it's back. The New Year's. I think yeah. I think originally I did hear somewhere that it was meant to be like Christmas, like a Christmas special, but then it moved out and they pushed it back to it being like a New Year special. So I don't know whether it was like affected by the pandemic. A lot of filming for a lot of different things, both TV shows and movies, were affected by the pandemic. A lot of stuff has been put on delay for a long time, so we're just kind of waiting for things to be doable again. But Doctor Who is here to kick us into the new year and to kick us into the kind of sci-fi section of this year's pop culture. And this year, I think in terms of media too, this year is actually looking somewhat healthier too. Like a lot of stuff is coming out now because despite stuff being delayed, they did still manage to actually get something done. So yeah, Revolution of the Daleks. The Daleks are returning. I do remember last season. I do remember what happened last season, but when last season actually happened or actually aired, I can't. I think it's like a 2019 thing, but whether or not it also stretched into 2020 is where my kind of memory issues come in. So yeah, but we had the we didn't have the Daleks in the last season, but we did have the Cybermen. The Cybermen came back. We had a whole thing with the lone Cyberman. And the Cyberium and the Cyber Masters too. We had the Master. Like last season was a fucking whopper of a season. It had a lot of stuff going on. It had some ups and downs here and there, as with any season of Doctor Who has had, I think. But a lot of stuff did get revealed. The Timeless Children, a big chunk of backstory for the Doctor herself was revealed. And the fact that she is she's a Time Lord, but she's not Gallifreyan. She's not originally from Gallifrey. She's from some other corner of the universe. She came through a portal, and then Tectayun. Yeah, I remember that name. The fact that I remember that name amazes me. Tectayun. I was about to say like, oh, some like native Gallifreyan from Gallifrey just found her wondering, but I actually remember the name. Like, oh yeah, it's Tectayun. The fact that I remember that name actually astonishes me. I can forget so much, but the smallest detail like that, I can actually like recall out of thin air just like that. But yeah, Tectayun, a kind of native Gallifreyan from way back in the ancient Gallifreyan days, found the Doctor as a child on like the edge of like a universal portal, and picked them up and then experimented on them, because I think as years passed, Tectayun grew older. Even with her Gallifreyan slowed down aging, she grew older, but then the Doctor as a child just kept regenerating and getting new faces and new lives. And so upon discovering this, Tectayun experimented on them. And then that's where the Time Lords inherited the ability to regenerate. So the Doctor is the reason that the Time Lords have become as advanced as they are now. They've kind of inherited, taken pretty much the ability to regenerate and to last as long as they have, and to come up with all the more inventions and technologies, and especially time travel. So the Doctor is the reason that the Time Lords exist to the extent and to the degree that they do today, and the Master was not happy to hear about that, and the Master was not happy to hear that his lifelong nemesis is the reason that he himself is able to have this kind of level of power and knowledge and everything. So he destroyed Gallifrey. He went back into the Pocket Universe and destroyed Gallifrey, so that was a thing. And then he made the whole plan to create like an army of Cybermen with the power of the Time Lords, like the ability to regenerate no matter how often they're killed, using some of the kind of hoarded corpses of the Time Lords he killed. So the Master, I think, and we got a new Master too. We got a new Master. Sacha Dhawan was unveiled as the Master right from the premiere, right from the get-go. He was unveiled as the new Master, and he did a fantastic job. He was amazing as a villain, and I think, even back then, having seen him as Davos in the Iron Fist series, I was fairly confident in his ability to play an antagonist, and he did it. He did a great job. He definitely felt very, very evil. He felt very mastery, and especially his kind of chemistry with Jodie Whittaker's Doctor was very well translated, and they've kind of got along well in that sense, as the Master and the Doctor usually would. But he did not hold back on his evil doings or his kind of evil villain plans, so he definitely kind of held the bar high up there. So that was cool. I don't know if we'll see him back again soon. He's not dead, from what I remember. He's not. I don't know if I remember. I don't know if I remember what happened to him. I think he didn't die. I don't think the ship was blown up. To my knowledge, the cyber ship was blown up. Gallifrey is still in ruins. But I don't know what happened to the Master. I think he must have teleported. Did he? I don't know. There was a guy that went in with a bomb and destroyed the cyber Masters. But I don't know if the Master himself actually survived. I can't remember if he actually survived that or not. I can't remember. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's the Master. I think he'll pop up somewhere. He'll definitely pop up somewhere in the future. But yeah, that whole finale happened, and then the Doctor was captured by the Judoon and taken to their prison, and so she's little tidbits of information was released over the past months. Like a trailer came out, but I don't remember having seen it. I remember it popping up in my kind of newsfeed on Twitter and even on my recommended on YouTube, but I never actually clicked onto any of those videos, so I don't remember ever actually having seen the trailer. I think there was one clip I saw. It was one with Jack. It was like a 5-second clip with Jack speaking, and that was it. But yeah, Captain Jack, he returned in that season, and it blew the entire fandom's minds. Jack returning, he met Graham, he met Yaz, he met Ryan, and it blew the entire fandom's minds, as it should. But yeah, now we get him back for an entire episode too. I think that one we didn't see much of him, but he did kind of pass on the message about the lone Cyberman and the Empire and everything. So he kind of helped to get them to prepare somehow, and the Doctor definitely remembered him. So this episode, we actually get him for like a full-length episode with the companions. Hopefully, him meeting the Doctor too. I really want to see him meeting 13, because he's missed 2 incarnations. He missed Matt Smith and he missed Peter Capaldi. So he's missed 2 whole incarnations, and now also he finds out that the new Doctor is a woman too. So yeah, I very much look forward to his reaction to meeting the Doctor for the first time, and also them just reminiscing pretty much about their past and everything. So that'll be fun. And yeah, and then the timeless child stuff. I think it kind of like the last season kind of left the fandom. I think from what I saw in somewhat like a mixed state of emotions. Some people enjoyed it. Some people kind of felt like it just changed too much of Doctor Who for them, and they just kind of dropped it. But me, I thought it was fun. It was like an interesting twist, and it kind of offered like an interesting chunk of backstory on the Doctor herself. And I think also like from my viewing experience of it and from my understanding of the show and the story, like the Doctor has always been fairly unique compared to the rest of the Time Lords. You know, they've always kind of, you know, operated on their own frequency and done things according to their own kind of moral code and moral compass and everything. So this, even the sci-fi element of it, like her actually having like, you know, this entirely different planetary origin and biological origin, like her having, you know, like unlimited pretty much regenerations because she's not originally like from Gallifrey. She comes from somewhere else where she has no limit. She has no limits on her thing. So the Time Lords being the ones who extracted that genetic kind of feature from her would be the ones with the limits. So yeah, and also I think it's fair to say I haven't really gone back and watched that entire season like a second time round either, so I kind of moved on with other things to have to watch and everything. So yeah, but it was not a bad season. I think it, like for me, it was a vast improvement over Jodie's first season. It was a vast improvement. This one actually had like something to follow, and it had like these big reveals, and it actually had something to actually keep me hooked onto it each time. So yeah, and I think Jodie as well. She's just done a smashing job so far. So I cannot wait to see what more we can get from her Doctor. But I have been hearing rumors that we might lose some people. I think that there's been rumors and predictions that we might lose Graham and or Ryan. So I don't know what to think of that. I don't know why we might lose something. I mean, Graham, I mean, he's got his whole cancer thing going on. So I think I don't want to see him die to his cancer. I don't want to see him die at all. But I don't know if they might, because I think we've had, 2 seasons with them so far, so I feel like we could maybe push it out to a third. We could, and then push, Jodie's Doctor a few more seasons too. I think I'd like to see a healthy run from Jodie's Doctor at least, before we, even think about moving on to another Doctor. But the companion-wise, I don't know. Yaz, I'd really love it for Yaz to stay. I love Jodie, and I do love Jodie, but I love the 13th Doctor and Yaz together. They have such great chemistry, and they have a lot of potential to be together and stuff, and to stay kind of in this kind of journey through the series and stuff. So I really don't want to see Yaz leave. But Graham and Ryan, I don't know, because it you do definitely get the whole kind of trio kind of dynamic from them. It's like you can't really have one without the other two, or two without the third, or anything like that. So I think, Graham and Ryan get along with Yaz and the Doctor just as much as they do vice versa, or together and everything. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about. I've heard those theories, and I've tried not to think about them in case I actually start to think more about losing them, and then that's just something else to have to deal with. Going into a new year, I'd like to just not lose anyone just yet, but I guess we will see. We will see how it happens. But yeah, that is pretty much it. It's about to start soon. I am streaming this off of the BBC iPlayer live stream and stuff. So yeah, if you guys want to catch the full-length reaction for this episode, then that one will be over on Patreon. You just need your own copy of the episode, and you can sync it up, and it'll be good to go. So you can enjoy that way too. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So I'll be waiting for when the for when the episode actually starts, and then be enjoying the episode that way. So yeah, I don't really know what else there is to say. I think I don't know when the next season after this might be coming out. I haven't really heard. I think I haven't. The only content I've seen from BBC regarding Doctor Who is promotion for this New Year special. That's pretty much it. I haven't really heard about them starting production on a new season. I think for a lot of production wise, I think they really might be waiting until things are a little bit safer from COVID to get everyone together and to actually do their thing. So yeah, I'm not too sure, but yeah, that is it. So I suppose I will see you until when the episode actually starts, and we can enjoy it all together. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Okay, yeah, that was a mighty special. That was a mighty New Year's special episode. Yeah, lots to talk about. Lots and lots to talk about. I have yet another full page of notes. But yeah, the Daleks returned. I think the return of the Daleks was fairly well done. It was fairly well done. I think Jack Robertson being back, that Trumpster dude being back. I mean, yeah, he definitely passes off as a Trumpster. The people have called him a Trumpster, and he definitely even had that kind of vibe in this episode alone. Like him, he just had every time he opened his mouth, he had like a punchable mouth, and just anytime the camera panned over to him, he had like a punchable face and everything. Everything he did, everything he said. But I mean, I think what confused me was that no one remembers the Daleks. Like, I don't know if that's like something that was addressed in like a previous season. Like maybe someone forgot everything. I mean, the only time I remember that happening was with Donna, but it's because she was being poisoned, I think, like by her fiance. Like she couldn't remember Cybermen or Daleks or anything in on Earth. Like even though like the whole Canary Wharf thing happened everywhere, all over the world, because the ghosts were everywhere, so the Cybermen were everywhere, but she couldn't remember it. But I don't know if that was linked to her fiance poisoning her with those particles, or if it was due to something else. But she's the only one I remember. I think any other time I've never seen them address anyone else not remembering what happened. The Canary Wharf thing was a big deal. Cybermen and Daleks, two of the biggest creatures in Doctor Who, colliding and having an all-out war, was a pretty big deal. So the fact that no one like actually remembers the Daleks, I mean, they don't call them Daleks either, but the design is, I mean, literally the design is pretty much on point, except for like the top half. The top half looks slimmer. It's been adjusted. It's been designed differently, but the bottom half still has that kind of trapezial-ish kind of base and the little round things on top, like on the sides and everything. It looks similar enough, and they have two guns. and the giant ice stalk and everything, and they look pretty much the same. They've designed it differently because of the like a new era, a new season, and everything. But besides from that, it looks basically the same. So I don't know why no one would remember the appearance and be like, "Hey, doesn't that remind you of those alien creatures that took over the world like a bunch of times way back when?" Like, no, they're just new they're just new drones now. And also that idea too, the fact that that they introduced the Daleks through like them having apparently designed new security drones, and especially introducing it to help like disperse like riot crowds and everything. So yeah, and I think I mentioned it being black at the beginning because I thought, oh, maybe they've designed it to look like a police officer, so maybe it's like black and white in certain areas. I thought I saw white, but I think it must have just been like the brightness color combined with the actual, some of the pieces being like silvery, kind of grayish and stuff. But yeah, no, I thought because of the mostly black color, I thought they designed it to look like a British police officer's uniform. But I don't think so. I mean, they did say it was going to take over it was going to take over every aspect of security in the country. So it would definitely take over like border patrol, security guarding, and law enforcement, especially like it taking over the place of police officers and stuff. So yeah, so they introduced it with it like showing a demonstration in like a role play scenario of it dispersing a crowd. So it had like, instead of the usual weapons, it had like it had like a water cannon instead of a laser cannon, and a smoke gun thing, and then also like a sonic boom dispersal kind of thing. So it had been modified seemingly by the humans, seemingly. And yeah, I think Leo, the guy who played Leo, I recognize him from like a couple of different places. I've seen him in other stuff. I think he had like a full on TV show role like a while back. With Robert Sheehan, I believe it was. Yeah, I think I can't remember what it was. I think he had like a role with Robert Sheehan and stuff on another network as a whole. Like I remember watching that show back in the day, but I can't remember what it was. But I haven't seen him in a long time, so he was cool in this role. And R.I.P. to Leo as well. He had like a wife and a kid, or like he had like a child or children, but he had a family. He had a family, and the last thing they heard him say was that he'd be like booking like an emergency business trip to wherever, to Osaka or something, and then just said love you, bye, and then he died. He died in the Dalek making factory. So yeah, and he was the one who did it. He was the one so interested in the Daleks and in the organic stuff left behind from the explosion. He was the one so interested in it that he actually took the organic stuff and not only grew but cloned like a whole Dalek from it. So yeah, and I think Robertson being disgusted at that. I mean, he said it looks disgusting, and then he like it, like that kind of thing should not be in the machine. And everything. Like he took one look at it, saw like a weird squid looking creature, and then just branded it as disgusting. But us fans, knowing that the Dalek and the creature inside is just as dangerous as the Dalek on the outside, would know better than that. But yeah, no. He was then demanded. I think as soon as he opened the box, he took it to the incinerator. Right? He took it to the incinerator. Right? I'm sure he can afford a new box. He did not have to open up the box. As soon as he opened up the box, I knew, okay, this is going to go badly, and especially because the Dalek is an entirely sentient creature. It knows what's about to happen. Especially if you take it into a box filled with flames, it knows what's going to happen. So I figured as soon as he opened the box, like, yep, he's going to get possessed and controlled, just like the last time, just like the last kind of. I think the last time it was a Christmas special. I think the last New Year's one. I think it was last year. New Year's was actually the opening. The R season actually did happen in 2020. Then it actually opened up in 2020, and it opened on New Year's. So we've gone basically a year without Doctor Who. Then like almost a year without Doctor Who. So but I think it was the last like Christmas special they had. They actually did that. They actually had the Dalek coming back and the Dalek creature possessing that one woman, and then like the pieces of the pieces of the machinery were scattered, and they used UV light to actually bring it back together. So I think they brought back to this. Then they did the lights in the factory changing to UV to actually not to bring it together, but to actually teleport the creatures from the insides of their gooey pods into the inside thing. And I knew as soon as he showed the inside of the Dalek, I knew that is definitely going to fit. That can definitely fit a small creature, and it will definitely fit a small creature because it can't be like it's obviously not a coincidence. Like there's a factory that's mass producing all of these cloned genetic kind of like Dalek creatures, and then there's also Robertson on the other hand with his own factory mass producing all these Dalek units. Like it can't be a coincidence. It's going to match up, and it's going to be all hell breaks loose in central London. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know that, like, yeah, and I think the idea of the Daleks replacing law enforcement as well, like, it just seems so, it seems so like horrible, but like amazing at the same time and horrible too. Like being arrested by a Dalek, like if a Dalek takes over law enforcement, imagine being arrested by a Dalek. You rob a shop or you mug someone or you commit some kind of crime and you're on the run, and then all of a sudden a Dalek just corners you and just starts spraying water at you to hold you down. Like, imagine being arrested by a Dalek, and instead of actually walking up to you and putting cuffs on your back, they just like shoot a pet like a cable or a rope around you, and they just tie you up like that and just wait for the human authorities to arrive. I don't know, but I mean, without the creature, the Dalek would have been was operated by AI, and then once the creature got inside and it was hooked up, then it was like a evil eyes of like red eyes of death. I think that was a nice touch. Because I think before there were no lights except for the ears, the actual light bulb things are like lighting on whenever they spoke. With this one, actually, like there's like a red aura around the head, and then through the eye stalk there's like a red eyes of death. So I think the new Daleks had like a coolish design. I think, especially like for being designed by humans, I think it had like a coolish design. Like the creatures themselves were kind of modified by itself technically. I think like because the creature itself was incredibly sentient and incredibly intelligent, and just like managed to hook itself up to every network on Earth, and managed to use Jack's company and his finances to actually buy itself a whole building and all the resources it needed to not only mass produce clones of itself, but also to actually hack into the systems that were designing the Daleks. And it also admitted to actually altering the actual the design of the Dalek units too. So it actually managed to add in like little secret little changes for water cannon to laser cannon, and then smoke gun to hand plunger thing. I don't know if the new one still had the little hand plungers that they use, but I don't know. But yeah, it definitely still had those. It definitely still kind of put in like a little kind of side note to keep those weapons. So they definitely managed to re-weaponize the Dalek design. So yeah, and I think that was a nice kind of twist to open up the Dalek intro with too. Like you'd think this is just going to start firing lasers into the crowd and killing everyone instead of actually dispersing the crowd, but no, it just Leo's designs just added. I think Leo's designs would have still been there, but then the Dalek itself would have actually because like it was still like they were still mass producing the Daleks at the time that all that stuff was going on. Like he said that the Daleks were still being 3D printed, so it would like at that time it would have actually hacked into the network, and like made a few of these tweaks, added a few of these changes, and then let the printing continue. So yeah, it's smart, but yeah, the Daleks, I think as well as that, I think the Dalek versus Dalek fight was especially cool to see. Especially cool. I think especially like on the bridge, those groups of Daleks just firing at each other. Like I think it was hard to imagine anything top it. I mean to be fair, I don't think anything can top the Cybermen versus Daleks. I think especially in terms of dialogue, the Cybermen versus Daleks fight back in Canary Wharf is just top notch. And especially also in terms of concept, like the Cybermen versus Daleks is also just like it's a fight you want to imagine. It's a fight you can go back and see. But especially, I think even like modernized for the modern day, I think it would also be cool to see that too. But Daleks versus Daleks is also an interesting concept because you wouldn't think that. I mean, I think unless they were dealing with rogue Daleks, in this case, which they were. But I think even in this case, I think something that interesting that occurred to me, and even the Doctor mentioned it too, like something that occurred to me was like, would they kill their own kind? And then they started yelling for like 5 minutes about like impurity, and these ones are not original ones like us, they are impurities, they're like abominations and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense, because I think one of them is original, like one of them had like enough organic material for Leo to clone them out to clone it out of, and then that clone went on to mass produce more of more of itself. It took more DNA from itself and then mass produced those. So those ones are results of experimentation. But then even the Doctor being like, it's funny that the race that was created from genetic experimentation is now complaining that that they have to get rid of all the ones that are results of genetic experimentation, because Davros actually mutated and cloned different beings from Skaro and turned them into Daleks too. So and of course that kind of idea that the Daleks would not consider you to be pure or proper unless you came from them specifically. Like these ones are more man-made than anything else, and these ones are even like genetic anomalies, and they're clones, they're duplicates and everything. But with the Daleks, like I think it's fair to say with the actual Skaro Daleks, cool that they also brought that back design too, like the ones from the older generation, like the 10th and 9th Doctor, like the darkish gold design. I've always loved that design. I think the only other design I've liked beyond that is also like the kind of multicolored Daleks. I was actually okay with the multicolored Daleks. I thought that is actually a cool enough addition, and I think that also makes it easier to identify, because I think in the adventure games, I think there was like a little for anyone who played that back in the day. There was actually a cool tidbit that those Daleks were actually like not only newer generations, but they were color coded to match what their roles within the Dalek Empire were. So some of them were scientists, some of them were engineers, other ones were soldiers, like bred for war. So like that one, I thought that was actually a really cool tidbit. So it's not just like a new color coding, it's not just like a new like a fashion thing, but it's actually made to allow you to identify which Daleks are which. So that was cool. But then with the gold Daleks, I think those ones are more kind of classic for New Who, so those ones are definitely more, you can definitely appreciate those ones more. And then the new Daleks came in the original Christmas special, and that one was fun. And these ones, I think they have like a little kind of LED strip along their like kind of legs too, along their base. Like these ones, they look alright too. I mean, for being man-made, they look understandably different, but they do look okay. I think. But yeah, and yeah, I think back to the Daleks, they would not accept any Dalek being a real or proper Dalek unless they came from the hearts and minds of Skaro itself. Like these ones were made, like the units were made by by Robertson. The kind of cloning stuff happened because it started with Leo. Had Leo not found the organic material, or at least if he had found it and disposed of it, that would be great. But if he actually hadn't gone through with actually cloning it and growing it and duplicating it, then none of this stuff would have happened. So I think that also kind of ties into the fact that a human also went like, I think the fact that like a human, like two humans pretty much actually went forward with actually like producing these Dalek units, and their minds went into this. I think I think the Skaro Daleks would know of that too. Like, oh, you guys were all designed and created by humans, and that alone makes you weak, and that alone provides like a flaw in your designing and in your programming and stuff. So yeah, it's just that's just like, I think it's just an interesting thing to see how the Daleks would actually view alternatively created versions of their own kind, and how they would actually view other versions of their own kind, and they just see them as like impurities and rogue Daleks and things that need to be exterminated and stuff. So yeah, but I can't believe for the life of me they actually allowed Jack to go to like the old Daleks would have exterminated like a human on like without a second thought, no matter what the human said. Like, they never would have stopped to listen what the human had to say. Like the old Daleks would have actually exterminated him halfway through his freaking evil villain speech. But these ones somehow actually give him the second breath to take and the third word to say and everything. Like, I don't know, that didn't really, that much didn't make sense to me, because again, it's like the Daleks do not care. Like, the Daleks, as a rule of their existence, they do not care what anyone else has to say. They do not care what anyone thinks, as long as they're concerned. They are the only race that deserves or has the kind of intellectual and existential right to exist, you know, and like no other races matter, like only the Dalek race matters. So the fact that they would actually let a human, let alone Jack Robertson, actually talk is beyond me. But also Jack just being Jack, and he sees an opportunity to live and to actually, you know, like to actually climb the ranks while getting more power. So he's like, you know, oh, the Daleks are beautiful, intelligent, and fearsome creatures, I'm going to ally with them and everything. And then he actually makes it through. He not only survives that encounter, but then they teleport him onto a show. I think you know, it's because, like, I mean, again, I think it's because he offered the information to actually find out who actually sent them the signal. So that much was worth the information. But I think either way, I think to me, I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, I think on the one hand, it would have made sense for them to take him on board, then to have him let loose the information, and then to kill him on the ship, or to force him to spill the beans right there on the street and then kill him afterwards. I think it's like taking him in, offering him power, offering to let him live, does not sound like Dalek methodology at all. Like, offering to let one of their enemies, or offering to let another species live, doesn't sound like Dalek stuff at all. So I don't know. I do not know, but it was crazy. And Jack, of course, even at the end, Jack gets his, you know, like, I think the smug look at the end when the Doctor says, "Oh, you are going to explain it," like what the hell all of that stuff on the Dalek ship was, and then is the smug look on his face, like, "Oh, what did I do? What was wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. I just kind of allied with the Daleks and offered to snitch you out," which he did. He did snitch the Doctor out. So yeah, it's I think I'll be much happier to not see him again. I will be much happier to never see Jack Robertson again, be it on the face of the Earth or on the face of this show. So yeah. And then, yeah, the Doctor and Jack. So we saw a bit of the Doctor in prison. Doctor kind of wishing good morning to the cameras and having the tally marks on the wall, like logging her stroke. I think she had some numbers on her actual shirt too. She had some numbers going down the shirt. I don't know what that means. It must be like an inmate number or like an inmate code. But yeah, but there were other prisoners there too. There were other aliens we actually recognized. The other aliens were there to recognize. I think the coolest one was the Weeping Angel. The coolest one was definitely the Weeping Angel, because it was the first one they showed us, but also the Doctor blinked and the Weeping Angel went from Hans Corridor to just yelling in her face, like, you know, banging on the electric fence and everything. So that was cool. And she even named her. The Doctor even named her Angela. So that one was the coolest reveal. That was the most well done intro to another prison inmate, and also the coolest kind of way to reveal the Weeping Angel. But the Weeping Angels there, we had these the Ood. We had the Ood there. They're like, I think what I thought was a Cigarex, what looked like a Cigarex. It had the red eyes and the same-ish kind of skull shape. I could be wrong, but it looked like a Cigarex from what I saw, the angle I saw. And of course a Pating. There was a Pating there too, the mighty Pating trying to eat the fence too. So yeah, and it can't eat the fence. It can't eat the fence or any part of the ship, so it's pretty much very much secure on the ship too. So yeah, it's cool to see all these other monsters are here too. I mean, how they managed to catch a Weeping Angel, I will never know. How they actually managed to catch, like everything else makes perfect sense, but the Weeping Angel, how you catch and imprison a Weeping Angel, I don't know. I mean, but it had like handcuffs around it. I think all of them might have, but I think the Weeping Angel especially had handcuffs around it. So yeah, that was cool. So a Weeping Angel, I think, yeah, like a Weeping Angel being imprisoned is such a satisfying thought, but also a really, really weird thing to think about. Like a weeping angel was charged with crimes by the Judoon. And because I mean, you got to, I mean, at least I can't help but wonder that I can't help but wonder what creatures would actually be within the jurisdiction of the Judoon's arresting. Like what kind of creatures are the Judoon capable of hunting down and arresting and incarcerating as well? Like a weeping angel is amazing because that thing has been around for like centuries and everything, and it has almost unlimited power. It can do anything. Like imagine a weeping angel sending a Judoon back in time. It's a crazy thing to think about, but yeah, I mean, like the Ood, I don't know what an Ood would have done. I don't know what an Ood would have done to get imprisoned, like maybe killed someone, because it has that little ball thing, it turns you to jelly, but I don't know. I don't know what crimes an Ood would have committed besides that. And then the cigarettes, are like warriors, they must have conquered some planet. And then of course the Pating, like, property damage, eating ships and destroying ships. That makes sense. And then I think the Doctor had like 7,000 other offences that they actually logged her on for right after they captured her. So she was there, and of course, the ultimate prisoner for them to capture, Captain Jack Harkness, who deliberately committed a few crimes. On the one hand, for the sake of committing crimes, and on the other hand, for the sake of actually getting captured, so that he could meet the Doctor. That was a great reveal. For Jack Harkness. Even him being in like a jumpsuit, and him somehow having like a thing in like a breakout ball, as he dubbed it, in his hand, and breaking him and the Doctor out, and then him actually even having like a vortex manipulator. And I like how, like, even when the Doctor asked him, like, how did you sneak that in here? And the Jack's like, do you really want to know? Like, yeah, we remember when he had like a whole laser gun shoved up his backside back in season 1 and stuff. Like the robot stripped him down completely, and he still managed to take out albeit a tiny one, but still like a laser gun. So the vortex manipulator, I don't want to think about how that would, but he managed it. He managed it because he's Captain Jack Harkness. So yeah, but Jack was amazing. In this episode. Very much a step up from his role in the last season. I think in the last season we only got him for like one episode anyway. So this was a this was a much more prominent and very welcome role. I almost wish he had more to do. I mean, he didn't really. I don't know. Besides from planting the bombs on the ship, he didn't really feel like it. It didn't really feel like he had much to do. Like he didn't really have much to offer. Like he planted the bombs on the ship with Graham and Ryan, but then action-wise, he didn't really do much. I think he was there, emotionally speaking. He was there so much. I think that pair up of him and Yaz, Jack and Yaz, was a great pair up to see. It was a great pair up, and I think especially because both of them are pretty much in love with the Doctor, and like Jack, having known the Doctor as long as he has, he's indefinitely in love with the Doctor, and I think he understands what he understands all, like what traveling with the Doctor is. I think that's also the reason the pair up actually matters, because he recognizes how Yaz feels having shoved the Doctor in the first place, and he's like you don't shove like that for nothing. You don't shove that like that and then actually be able to pass everything off as okay. I love how he greeted Graham when he came. He's like, "Hey, Silver Fox." Like him, he initially met Graham first and snogged him, and also thinking that Graham was a Doctor. I like how he actually addressed him with like Jack is the biggest and Jack. He's the single biggest flirt in the entire Whoniverse. He's the single biggest flirt in the Whoniverse. He will flirt with anyone and anything. Like he looks at you, and if he finds you attractive, I mean, it's highly unlikely that he won't find you attractive. So it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, that moment took me away. I mean, there was such a tonal shift too. Like 1 second it's Jack with the hey there, Silver Fox, and the next second it's Yaz coming in with the shove, being like, you can't just leave us like that and expect everything to be okay. So yeah, I think for that reason, Jack and Yaz was a great pair up. Them two reminiscing, and Jack like kind of explaining his history with the Doctor, and also what life with the Doctor really is, and stuff like that. Like 1 second you're enjoying the thrill of the chase and the adventures and the life you could have and the life you get to have with the Doctor, and the next second she sends you somewhere, and then you're stuck there for what feels like forever, and then she's off trying to survive or trying to do something else. It feels like you've lost her all over again, or that you've lost her, for forever and stuff. And he he knows that too. Like he remembers what it was like last time he got left behind by the Doctor. I mean, last time from what I remember, his journey ended when 10th ended, because I don't remember seeing him at all after the 10th Doctor's adventures. I think 11 might have mentioned him. 12 definitely didn't really do anything with him. No, I don't think so. I genuinely don't think he's actually been with any. Like, he hasn't been with any of the Doctors since he left after that. Like after Journey's End, he left. He went back to Torchwood with both Martha and Mickey. So I haven't seen Torchwood. I haven't seen any of Torchwood. I know, just put the pitchforks and flames down. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's a pretty good show. But personally speaking, I have not seen any of Torchwood. So I don't know what those stories were like. I've heard Martha was on Torchwood. I've heard Martha was actually on the show. She was actually on Torchwood. I don't know about Mickey, but I think after that, I think Martha was on Unit originally. Was in Unit originally, so I think that might have prepared her for Torchwood. But I think I haven't seen any of Torchwood. So I don't know how true that is. But I've heard Martha was on there. But I think even in Journey's End, I think at the end of time, we saw time had passed and Mickey and Martha were married and stuff. But the last time we saw Jack, then he was at a bar. Yeah, the last time we saw Jack, then the 10th Doctor set him up with Alonso. Like, actually, we don't know if he hooked up with Alonso, but he definitely got talking with Alonso. They talked a bit, so that was a thing there. So the Doctor kind of set him up with someone in Intergalactic, in an intergalactic bar. So that was cool. But yeah, I think he said he claimed after that after that interaction that he thought he'd lost the Doctor forever, and then now he comes back years and years later and the Doctor's changed and everything feels like he's gone back in. But I feel like besides from emotionally speaking, Jack didn't really do a whole lot. Like he helped investigate the Dalek stuff. He fought the Dalek, the bare minimum, the Dalek creature anyway. He still did something, but I think action-wise he didn't really do much. Besides plant a few bombs and stuff. And even here, here I think the last thing we heard from him was he was on the comms. He was in Cardiff. I think he was actually with Gwen Cooper from Torchwood. So he left kind of like an off-screen goodbye. So that was kind of we could have gotten more than that. I mean, I think maybe due to COVID he couldn't really be around too much. Maybe so the best they could do was like a goodbye over the comms. I think in that sense it would make sense. But yeah, I mean, it was still cool to have him over emotional. I think him and Yaz again, like I said, they're both indefinitely in love with the Doctor, in love with the life they have with the Doctor, in love with the Doctor as a person. So they both understand how they feel, and they both understand what it's like to go for years, or at least go for a long time without the Doctor, because the team actually was without the Doctor for 10 months. They actually had to stand without the Doctor for 10 months, and I'm going to turn the fan on because it's boiling in here. Yeah, no, so they were without the Doctor for 10 months, and I think in that 10 months as well, at least more towards the present day, we saw how the team was actually healing from it. Graham and Ryan just kind of gradually let go, but Yaz was incessant. Yaz was determined to be able to find the Doctor again. She was sleeping in the TARDIS, had papers strewn about all over the place. She was writing, investigating, had post-it notes and pictures. She was just investigating any possible way to get back to the Doctor and actually find her again. So Yaz, I think it's not a far stretch to say that Yaz is, she does love the Doctor. She does love the Doctor. She loves her, and she is. I think for that reason, it makes sense that she would stay. For that reason, it definitely makes sense that she would stay. But yeah, I think Jack, he had a great role. He had a great role. He had a great presence in the episode. I think it was cool to see him being present, actually having met the gang properly and having met the Doctor properly to hear his interaction. I think we could have had more from him from the Doctor. We had a few references of their past here and there, but I think we definitely could have had more of him and the Doctor actually talking and actually reminiscing and stuff. I think more of the heart-to-heart chats between him and other characters was between him and Yaz, which makes sense companion-wise, but it would be cool to actually see Jack and the Doctor. I think they had a brief conversation when they were breaking out of prison, but again, that was fast-paced. That was, they were on the run and everything. So it would have been cooler to actually have them both sit down and talk and actually talk things through and stuff like that. But hey, I'll go for what we can get. I will go for, as of right now, I will go for what we can get. I will definitely go for what we can get. So yeah, but yeah, Jack was great. And also in terms of companion pairings, I love the Doctor and Ryan. The Doctor and Ryan had their own conversation. The Doctor started off by apologizing for being away for so long, and then that whole conversation, I think, I think Ryan not staying was definitely sprinkled in. Ryan not staying was definitely sprinkled into this whole thing, and I think it started with him expressing how okay he was being back home, how actually peace, like how at peace he was with being back home, being with his mates, having reconnected with his father, and having actually spent some more time with his friends. He found out how much he actually, I think maybe not missed Sheffield, but still actually realized how much this was his home and how natural it felt to be there. So yeah, I think Ryan leaving was definitely sprinkled in there, and I think the way that the relationship between Ryan and Graham works means that you don't really have to show that Graham wants to leave too, or like to stay too, but Graham loves Ryan like a son, and he would go anywhere that he would. If he chose to stay on the TARDIS, then he would stay, but if he chose to leave and stay at home, then he would go with him. He would go absolutely anywhere that, you know, Ryan was comfortable and okay with going. So I think for that reason, they wouldn't have to focus on Graham's position too much. But I think it would have been cool to see what Graham actually felt like too. Graham was fairly neutral. He was fairly neutral. He was like, you know, even if he wanted to go alone, he could try. But he admitted it wouldn't be the same without Ryan there. Like, he wouldn't have anyone to talk to like that. He would always. I think also as a grandparent, he'd be constantly worried. Like despite what Ryan said, that he's a grown up now, he can look after himself, Graham would still be worried about him. He'd still be thinking about Ryan, hoping he's okay and stuff. So it's a lot easier to, you know, to not do that when you're actually with the person, when you can watch over them and actually, you know, be there when they need help. So, you know, for that reason, it made sense that Graham just kind of, you know, doubtlessly kind of tagged along with him. So yeah, Ryan and Graham. Goodbye to Ryan and Graham. I think they're not going to go for long. We're going to see them in the future. I think I can definitely, because I think it wasn't almost as emotional as I'd expected, because again we've only had like 2 seasons with them. So I think the characters themselves have grown a lot, and they've grown a lot closer to each other because of this. Because even the first time, even when Jodie's season first started, they were all being reunited in some sense because of what was happening in Sheffield. So since then they've all gone on these adventures and had spent this time together and grown together, so because that is emotional for them. But for me personally, I didn't really feel like I didn't really feel like a tear shedding worthy moment. But still, it's sad to see them go. That they've been great. They've been really great fun to watch, and even as like a grandfather and son duo, they've been really funny to watch. And they're like really connected in that sense. The kind of chemistry really translates well. Like Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole have done such a great job of actually building these characters and getting the audience to know them and to actually understand them and feel with them. So they're going to be missed. They're definitely going to be missed. I'm going to miss them a whole lot. But again, it's like I'm really excited about the kind of concept of Yaz and the Doctor traveling together. Like Yaz and the Doctor is, like, for me, it's a duo I'm willing to die for. It's a duo I really want to see some content from. You know, so like Yaz and the Doctor is just it's an amazing duo. It's an amazing partnership between them. And I'd also love to see their relationship really grow as well, like if it's just the two of them together. But I don't know, we'll see. But and I think especially like Yaz, I did not doubt for a second that she would choose to stay, because given how adamant she was at first on finding the Doctor and how adamant she was on getting the Doctor back, I did not think for a second that she would actually go with Ryan and Graham and leave with them too. So as soon as she said that she was staying, I was like, yep, she's staying on the ship. That much is crystal clear. So more Graham, more Doctor and Ryan. I can't even get it right. More Doctor and Yaz content for us. So it was great. That much was great. So yeah. So I think that must be the next season. But you know, I also like how like the Doctor and Ryan actually spoke about like her time in prison, what she thought about, and how like that kind of discovery at the time of child affected her. Like her like talking to her, actually explained to him how the lives she thought she'd lived were not only probably false, but also like more extensive and more expansive than she realized. Like where she came from wasn't what she thought. Who she was wasn't what she thought. Like what she was raised to believe wasn't entirely true. So she, like, her entire sense of identity, her sense of self has been warped and kind of crumbled down somewhat. So now she's got the job of actually building it back up again. And even Ryan said that. Even Ryan told her, like, you know, after this whole Dalek stuff is finished, you take that time, you go out there, you find out, you know, if you need to, you go rediscover who you are. But he did also remind her, you are the Doctor, no matter what your past is, no matter what your past says, you're the Doctor. I think even me thinking in that scene, it's like, that is the truth. Like, like the Doctor, even before the Timeless Child was even a thing, like the Doctor has always been unique from the Time Lords for that reason. Like the Doctor to me is like an identity so like built upon like compassion and freedom and liberty and saving the universe, stuff like that. Like the Time Lords themselves like stuck like glue to principles of observation only and non-interference and unlimited power and knowledge. Like they stuck to that stuff. They stuck to their own power and keeping that power and using it to not interfere, but only to monitor overall of time and space. But the Doctor was never like that. As soon as the Doctor grew bored of Gallifrey, he stole a time ship and ran away with his granddaughter, and ever since then he's been doing nothing but interfering and finding problems to solve, finding people to save, and doing all that stuff. So I think that stuff is what makes Doctor Who, like this time traveler, going out, saving people, hunting things, the family business, hunting things in a non-lethal way, because we know that I think the Doctor has very, very rarely been one for violence. The Doctor has sometimes used weapons, but when they can, they resort that they actually try and do like a pacifist kind of method, a pacifist approach and everything. So, I think the next season could be about that. The next season could be about the Doctor kind of rediscovering the fact that, she is that person. She's the hero that the universe needs. She's the hero that, that stands for peace and justice and all that kind of stuff. So regardless of how many lives she's lived, regardless of how many more she might live, or like what her past really is, she's the Doctor. She's the Doctor, and the Doctor is like a word for healer, like River Song said. So yeah, that's another pairing I want to see. I want to see the Doctor and River Song. I want to see the Doctor and River Song engaging and interacting and meeting each other. I don't know if it's possible, because I think the Beryllium Night is what, like 24 years long? I think 22 or 24, like at least like 2 decades long. So if they can like warp into that timeline somehow, I'm sure we can get something going. I'm sure we can get something like just give me River Song and the 13th Doctor, please. Give me that duo. Give me that badass duo. That would be amazing to see. And of course, River would instantly fall in love with the Doctor. We know River would instantly fall in love with the Doctor all over again. She'd fall in love with it all over again. So, that's something I want. But we'll see if the BBC is capable or willing to make that happen. But yeah, no, the Doctor and Ryan was a great kind of similar to Jack and Yaz. It was also like another great conversation to see, another great interaction to see, very, very emotionally charged and driven. So it was very cool, very cool. But yeah, Yaz is staying that much. Again, like I said, I'm happy about the Doctor and Yaz are going to continue being their own duo, or maybe, I don't know, because again, there were two teasers at the very end. One was the Doctor will return, and the second one was John Bishop. John Bishop is going to be in Doctor Who. I know, I'm aware of John Bishop. To my knowledge, he's a comedian. He's done like stand-up comedy mostly, so that's an interesting actor to introduce into this universe, into this kind of a entertainment kind of medium. Him being in this, I'm curious. I think he might be a companion. I mean, they had Graham on, so I can definitely see John Bishop being like a new companion. That would be interesting. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them introducing someone new just as soon as they boot two people off. Like I personally, I would rather see Yaz and the Doctor. I'd rather see Yaz and, like, we've had the Doctor and just one companion before. We've had it before and it has worked out well enough. We do not need to just boot two people off just to bring one back on. I mean, no offense to John Bishop. No offense at all to John Bishop. I'm sure he's a wonderful actor and he could play a wonderful role if he's the companion, but I was also, like, for a split second I was scared because it felt similar to the whole introducing John Hurt as the Doctor. It felt similar to that. I was like, wait, are they going to replace the Doctor too? Like, is that like a surprise twist? They're going for, like, Happy New Year, here's a new Doctor. But no, John Bishop, he might just be a companion. He might just be a new companion. And I was confused because I was watching the live stream on BBC iPlayer. I didn't know when the episode itself actually ended, and like the BBC kind of, you know, like, live stream continued on to promoting other shows. So I was like confused. Like it showed like a new clip. I didn't know if it was still part of the episode or not. And then it mentioned 13, and I was like, oh, 13? Okay, that's a mysterious number. And then John Bishop turned on. It was John Bishop, and I still wasn't sure if it was Doctor Who. And then it actually showed, you know, introducing John Bishop. The Doctor will return 24. And I was like, okay, this is very much definitely still Doctor Who related. So that's new. But yeah, again, I think I don't I'm curious. It's left me curious. I'm not overly excited for it. I'm not really I don't know what to expect from John Bishop as a companion. But if they are doing John Bishop as a companion, I'm okay. I guess I'll wait and see what that's like. But again, I think personally I would rather they actually just kind of take the time to focus on Yaz and the Doctor, like develop their relationship and actually see how it works out between them two, and also just give us more Doctor and Yaz content, and just give us more of that. Like, again, like one companion and one Doctor, it can work. It can definitely work. We've seen it happen tons before. So you don't need to bring one off just after you boot two off, or bring one on just after you boot two off. But we'll see. I mean, for all we know, it might not be immediate to it. I mean, they might actually give us like a few episodes without John Bishop and then actually introduce him halfway. I mean, that might be a little bit messy as a companion kind of thing, but again, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Like, we have no footage, no official footage. That's like the first kind of that's the first kind of clip introducing John Bishop to us, and we don't really know what's really going on with him or who he is. So that only makes sense. But we have no trailer, no information about the new season coming. But I think it did say 2021. It did say 2021. So again, me personally, I haven't heard any news or information about like a new season that it's been filmed or produced or done filming or whatever it is. But if there's a new season coming this year, then oh boy, we're in for a treat. We're in for a treat. New Doctor, a New Year special, and also, or unless this is the start, unless this is like not just a New Year special, but you're also the thing that kicks off this year's Doctor Who. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know, but I guess we'll look forward to seeing it. But yeah, me personally, I would be okay with I'd be more than okay with the Doctor and Yaz doing their own kind of duo adventures. But we'll see what the writers and the team at Doctor Who has in store for us with John Bishop, who he is, what he's about. We'll see. We will see. But yeah, we know that Graham and Ryan might still have their own adventures, because for one thing, the Doctor hooked them up with individual psychic paper stuff. So I was wondering what that was. I was thinking like, oh, maybe it's like a phone that can call anyone in the universe, or like a phone that has like a direct hotline to the TARDIS. Maybe they can call whenever they want. But no, it's actually psychic paper for them to use. So I don't know if she gave them that because she knew that, like, I think maybe it might have been like a reference to her to Graham's comment, like, oh, I was wrong. There are like we do get aliens in Sheffield, but or maybe because she knew that the Earth still needed saving, even if she was in the far depths of outer space. So I don't know, but yeah, we see that like Graham and Ryan have been catching hints of weird goings on in, I think it was like in Finland and Korea and other places and stuff. So they're aware of that. Alien creatures are popping up in different places, and yeah, they went back to riding their back. I was confused, like, when they went back to riding their back, because I thought it was meant to be like a flashback or something, but Grace wasn't there. Well, technically speaking, Grace wasn't there, but at the very end, they did have like a very, very sweet moment of the sun shining down through the clouds, and Grace's kind of spirit, somewhat showing up to them. But I think that was a great way to end it. That was a great way to end that kind of episode, to end the episode, and to end their portion of the episode. Like, they're back on that hill, like always, with the bike, and Ryan's going to keep practicing, he's going to keep continuing until he can ride the bike without falling off of it, and Grace is there in spirit. Watching over them both and cheering Ryan on and stuff. So that was a very, very sweet moment, and even both of them said like, oh, the sun's just got in my eye, it's nothing, I can continue. It's a very, very kind of relatable kind of thing to watch. But yeah, that was very sweet. Them both seeing Grace there, like even like they're both safe back home now, and Grace is again with them in spirit. So it's a very nice way to kind of touch off that chapter of their lives and their time with the Doctor and stuff. So yeah, that was a very, very cool thing to see. So then, like, even on the kind of sidelines, they're still going to be having their own little adventures, investigating stuff and keeping Earth safe and stuff like that. I wonder if they'll actually run into Torchwood, because I think Jack should be on Earth still if Torchwood is still up and running. But he's with Gwen somewhere. So I wonder if Jack and Torchwood are still up and running in Cardiff, then they might actually run into him maybe, or be able to call him for help somehow. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't think they're gonna do any kind of special mini-series with Graham and Ryan. I think it would be a little fun to watch, but I don't know if they're actually gonna delve into that. I think right now the Graham and Ryan chapter is somewhat more closed off. So it's the end of their chapter now. We're continuing with the Doctor and Yaz. So yeah, it's fun. It's been fun, but the boys have been amazing. The 2 seasons and the two specials that they've been in, they've been amazing to watch. So I can only, and also Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole, I bid them farewell too for now, anyway, and hope that they continue. Especially Tosin Cole, he's especially like a young actor as well. No offense to Bradley Walsh, but Tosin, I think especially like being on Doctor Who too is like a big kind of stardom boosting role. So I'm hoping Tosin himself goes on to bigger and better things, and Bradley sticks around and does great things too. I think he's on like The Chase or something. He's on like some kind of game show. But yeah, I'm hoping. I definitely get the feeling we'll see them again in the future. I definitely get that feeling. I definitely get that feeling that this isn't like a permanent goodbye. They're going to pop up at some point in the future and stuff. But the Doctor and Yaz sticking together definitely gives me good feelings. Definitely gives me good vibes. So yeah. But yeah, that is it. That is pretty much all my thoughts on this New Year special. It was great to get Doctor Who back into our lives again. It was great to kick off this new year with some amazing sci-fi content and some amazing Doctor Who content. Dude, it was a great episode. It was a really fun episode. I personally enjoyed it. So again, Doctor Who 2021. They said it. Don't take it from me, take it from them. They said Doctor Who 2021. So I'm assuming that does mean maybe in like a few months' time or just later this year somewhere we get a new season. With the Doctor, Yaz, and John Bishop's character, whoever he is. So I look forward to it. I very, very much look forward to some more Doctor Who in this year of 2021, and all else that 2021 has to offer in terms of entertainment and media and stuff like that. So yeah, Doctor Who, the New Year's the New Year's special, Revolution of the Daleks. Not resolutions, Revolution of the Daleks. So yeah, as always, thank you guys so much, as always, for watching this video. Any thoughts you have on this New Year special, any thoughts you have on this episode, any thoughts you have, any theories you have on the future season, on the next season of Doctor Who, or like what you think might happen between the Doctor and Yaz, and what you think of John Bishop's introduction, any thoughts you have at all, comments are open, have at it. The full-length reaction, again, like I said, that will be over on Patreon, so you can just get your own episode and sync it up and check it out over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.